So welcome back to days 87 to 93 of my 100-day project. My name's Claire Cousins and I'm a printmaker, mixed media artist and teacher based in the UK. So this week I'm experimenting with stencils and how I can use those in different ways to create different effects on my gel plate. If this project's been something that you've been interested in, please sign up to my newsletter. I'll pop the link in the description below. You'll also then get access to my freebies, Mastering the One Pull Print and how to prepare botanicals for gel printing. So I've started off with a really thin layer of Payne's Grey on my gel plate. I've popped the stencil down while the paint is still wet, and I'm just using a scrap piece of wet strength tissue paper and really getting my thumbs in between all those gaps to remove the excess paint to create a nice crisp design on my gel plate. And you can see that's the first pull, and that's the positive shapes pull through the stencil. What's left behind is the negative shapes, and this is also known as the ghost print. So I've let this layer completely dry, and I'm using a thin layer of metallic silver, again from the Pebeo range. And you just want good coverage, but you can just see there that the design is just starting to pop through. And this is going to act as a pickup layer. I'm flipping it over. I've got my gel plate mounted on a piece of Perspex, and I'm just pressing that directly into my sketchbook and then flipping the page over, giving it a good rub to make really good contact before pulling the final print. So you'll see as I pull back the paper from the gel plate, I've got some little areas of pink that have picked up. Now that's because I've been using alcohol inks with my stencils and it's picked up the colour that was left behind. So next I decided to try and modify some stencils to maybe make them a little more workable for me the way I wanted to use them. So you can see I'm just snipping the outer edge of the stencil off. So basically that circle that contained the stencil. So I'm starting with a pea-sized amount of Payne's Grey in the Liquitex Basics range and using my brayer to spread this out nice and evenly and thinly across my gel plate. I'm going to lay my stencil down while that paint is still wet, and then I'm using a piece of wet strength tissue paper again to press down, really get my fingers in between all the gaps to remove that excess paint from around the stencil. And you'll see as I peel back the tissue paper, that's the first print, and then as I remove the stencil I'm left with the ghost print, and I've allowed that to completely dry. And I've took another stencil from the same collection and obviously modified that. But this time I'm going to use green grey in the Liquitex Basics range, and I am applying the paint over the stencil. So I'm pushing the paint through the gaps rather than removing it. If I was to do the same process as previously, what would happen is that green paint would reactivate the blue paint underneath and pull that off with it, which is not what I wanted. I wanted to find a way of adding more paint to the gel plate rather than removing it. So I'm pushing the paint through the stencil, so then when I remove the stencil, I'm left with the negative shapes around the stencil. Again, I'm allowing this layer to completely dry before using a pea-sized amount of Titan Buff from the Pebeo range as my pickup layer, and I'm going to use this to transfer it straight into my sketchbook. Giving it a good press down to make contact, flipping the page and giving it a good rub. Sometimes I leave this about 20 or 30 seconds to make sure it's stuck nice to that page, and then revealing the final print. Now I think this technique, I'm not overly keen on this print. It's just the combination of stencils don't work. But I think with the right combination of stencils that could work really well. So I'm starting again with another layer of the Payne's Grey, And I'm going to test this time using a stencil with smaller openings and then overlaying a stencil with bigger openings to see how that works. So following the same process as before, stencil goes down while the paint is wet, using the tissue paper to get in between and remove the excess paint from those gaps in the stencil, removing the tissue paper and the stencil to allow the ghost print to dry. Once the ghost print is dry on your gel plate, I've placed the larger stencil over the top. I'm using grey blue in the Liquitex Basics range, and again pushing that paint through those gaps to add paint to my gel plate. You do need to kind of brayer in different directions and different pressures to ensure you've got a really good coverage, so you've got a nice sharp edges on your design. So once that layer is completely dry, I'm using a pea-sized amount of the Titan Buff and spreading this evenly across my gel plate. You can just see the stencil design peeping through, so that indicates you've got the right amount of paint, and transferring it straight into my sketchbook. Now I do think this worked better with these two stencils. I just think I didn't get enough contrast between the paint grey and the blue grey for the initial two layers. So next I'm going to show you how I work with stencils more. This is more the way I use them. So I'm starting off again with paint grey, just a thin layer. And I've chosen a rather large stencil because I only intend to use parts of it. I very rarely use a stencil as a whole. So I've popped the stencil down on the wet paint, and I'm going to remove that paint from in the gaps. And I knew pretty much as soon as I did this, I'd done it back to front. This isn't what I intended to do, but hey ho, we'll carry on with the print and see what we can come up with. So because I've got the negative space, while the paint's still wet, I'm just going back in with that stencil to try and remove some more of the paint, because obviously there's lots of paint grey on my gel plate, so it's not going to leave very much windows for other layers to show through. So I'm just trying to patchwork it now and trying to remove some more of that paint. And you can see from my tissue paper layer, that's what I was after on the gel plate. So I'm now going to just take a smaller stencil that's got some circles on. You could use anything that's got circles on. And I'm just using a sponge applicator and pushing the paint through the stencil using that sponge. I'm using the sponge so I've got some more control and can just pick certain circles that I want to apply the paint through rather than the whole stencil. I'm now going back to using that original stencil, the first stencil, and just focusing on those grids, those lines, to add some of those. So each time we're adding more paint to the gel plate to build up layers. So as this isn't what I intended, I didn't do any more layers. I just used the pea-sized amount of Wedgwood blue as my pickup layer and transferred this straight into my sketchbook. Pulling back the page from the gel plate to reveal the print, and it's worked quite well. It's not what I had in mind, but it worked quite well. Okay, so let's try again. So this time I'm starting with a clean gel plate. I've popped my stencil down and I'm applying the paint grey, and I'm using the brayer to push that paint through those gaps in the stencil, and that's going to give me those positive shapes left on the gel plate. I'm making sure I get really good coverage there, but my paint isn't too thick, and that's the key to it because it goes underneath all the gaps. Pulling back the stencil, and that's what I was after. Allowing that to completely dry before using its vivid pink on a sponge to add more paint and more layers to the gel plate. So now I'm just moving to a different part of the stencil, so those lovely lines going across the arch, and applying those using a sponge applicator and more of that vivid pink. Now this is my trick. I've let this dry for about a minute and I'm going back in and putting another layer of that vivid pink on. So I haven't moved the stencil, and that's really important, to apply another layer of the pink. Now, I don't know how, I've seen other people do it on YouTube. They just use a much thicker layer of paint to get that opacity. When I do that, it goes underneath the stencil, it blotches, it doesn't look great. But I find you do have to apply multiple layers to the same place to build that opacity. Just because your paint has got the word opaque written on the front or the little white square doesn't mean it's going to block out everything underneath it. It will just change the appearance of the colour. So that's why I'm going over the areas twice to build that opacity. On a print I did last year, I had to do this 3 or 4 times. It was a Rex Ray inspired print to really build that opacity within the print. So I've let this completely dry now before using the turquoise as my pickup layer. I'm just making sure I've got a nice even smooth coverage before transferring it straight into my sketchbook. Pressing it down firmly and then flipping the page over to give it a good rub to make good contact with the gel plate. So this is where the mistake started to happen. I didn't leave it anywhere near long enough for it to dry, and you can see it's left detail behind on the plate and it's also starting to rip. And this happens when there's still too much moisture in the paper there. So what I'm going to do is pop some matte medium down and put it back down and let it dry for a bit longer, and hoping this will pick it up. So the matte medium that I'm just spreading around now is like a glue, and it's going to reactivate what is left on the gel plate and hopefully attach to the paper. Now it is very watery, so it does take quite a long time to dry, and 9 out of 10 times this will work. And you can see as I pull the print back, it's not worked very well, and this is my fault. I should have left it to dry at least half an hour to an hour, and I left it about 3 minutes. I was due to set up for a workshop, so I was in a rush. So this technique does work if you just let it dry and give it the time it needs. So for this print, I'm starting with a clean gel plate. I've popped my stencil down, and these are like abstract portrait type stencils. And so far I've been using opaque paints and trying to build opacity with those layers. So I thought I would just switch to transparent paints to see how they will intentionally layer, so you've got that transparency between the layers. So I'm starting with a transparent blue. I'm pushing the paint through the stencil, so I will be left with the positive shapes on my gel plate. Letting that layer completely dry before placing a second stencil in the same series over the top. And this time I'm using a transparent red, and again pushing it through the stencil, so I'm using the positive shapes again on my gel plate. Allowing this layer to dry again before using a transparent yellow as my pickup layer, and just applying a small amount so I've got good coverage, and then transferring it straight into my sketchbook. So I've realised I've run out of pages in my sketchbook, so I've just cut some paper 20 centimetres by 20 centimetres, the same size, and I'm printing onto that and I'll attach them into my sketchbook. And then I'm just pulling the print back, and you can see where those colours have overlapped. We've now created kind of a muddy dark green. So we've got the vibrancy of the red and the yellow, but the blue has been lost and created a green. So I wanted to try this process again, but trying the colours in a different order to see if we would still create that green and maintain the blue. So I've got a circle stencil down and I am starting with a transparent red, pushing that through the stencil onto the gel plate to create those positive shapes on the gel plate. So once this layer was fully dry, I've laid another stencil down, and this has got larger circle openings, and I am using the transparent blue and again pushing that through the stencil to create the design on the gel plate. Again, I'm allowing this layer to fully dry before using the transparent yellow as my pickup layer, and again just a good even coverage before popping it down on that paper to pull the final print, giving it a good rub to make good contact and then pulling the final print. And you can see in this case it hasn't really made any difference where those colours are overlapping. The blue has been lost and it's created the green. So let's have a quick recap. We've got the first print, which was just a kind of basic one layer print, but it did pick up the paint that was left from the stencil. Then this was where I'd suppose deconstructed the stencils a little bit to make them a little bit more workable the way I'd like to use them, and overlapping them in multiple layers. Same with this one. The idea behind this was using a stencil with much smaller openings followed by a stencil with larger openings to see how that would work. This is then moves on to more the way that I like to work, where I'm just using parts of the stencils, but I started off with that error where I'd got the negative shape rather than the positive shape. So went back and tried again. This one stuck to the gel plate, tried to use the matte medium to lift it, but just didn't leave it long enough, and really applied lots more layers to that print to build opacity. This one here is overlapping two portrait stencils and experimenting with transparent paints so we can intentionally layer and have a look at those colour changes and differences. So rather than building opacity, really kind of lean into the transparency and how they react together. So for the final print, again, two different circle size stencils, but changing the order of the paint to see if it made any difference. And you can see with the comparison between the order of the colours didn't make any difference in this print. So I really hope that you've enjoyed this week's instalment of my 100-day project, and I look forward to seeing you for the next instalment.